What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be doing a quick little Bible study, together. This is actually pre-recorded Bible study, but it's going to feel like we're doing it together. And really, the whole premise here is just how to identify what God has called you to do, how to identify your God dream. And by the end of this 15, 16-minute Bible study, really believing, for God to speak to you, believing, for God to show you just kind of what he has in store for you, and really just to open your mind up, and allow him to speak into your heart about what he has in store for you. So get ready for the Bible study. And if it impacts you at all, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, follow me on Instagram. And really hope this helps. Really believe in God that just like with this Bible study as the vehicle, I know a lot of us probably go to church, a lot of us are already believers, but really just believe in God to send us more and more people to these meetings that are going all in on what God has called them to do and want to figure out why the heck they're here on this planet. And really believe in God to just kind of show you guys even today a deeper revelation of like your vision, your dream, like why he put you on this planet. So if I can figure out how to get to the next page, here we go. I believe all of us have a God dream. I believe that, based off scripture and based off of, just our own personal journeys with God, like each and every one of you have, a vision from God. And if you don't have like a big vision right now, like that's okay. I believe God's like expanding, our ability to just see what he sees. So I believe we all have a God dream, and less about it being your vision, your dream, your business, your income. It's God's dream for us. Like in the Bible, it talks about the best way to find your life is to lose it. The best way to get what God has for you and to get, into the perfect will that he set out for us is to lay your life down. So less about your dream, more about tapping into what God planned for you. So, in Christianity, I would say like a baseline premise is we are not called to be average. Like, not average is bad. So like, dude, if one of you guys could unmute your mic and just like run through these statistics, I think it would be cool just for the whole group to kind of read these out and just bring awareness to them. So whoever, doesn't matter who, just like unmute and just kind of go down the list.
Sure, I can go. 85% of young people ages 12 to 25 don't see their church as a place they can turn to in times of trouble. Nearly half of Americans, 47%, who pray every day usually pray for only but a few seconds or a minute or two. 22% of evangelicals have made a conscious decision to hide their faith from their friends for fear they might offend them. Only half of Americans, pastors, 51%, have a biblical worldview. That's an interesting one. Yeah. For the first time ever, less than half of Americans, 47%, say they belong to or are members of a local church. Only half of American adults, 49%, don't know whether it was Paul, Peter, John, or Jesus who taught the Sermon on the Mount in the Gospels. Oh, wow. Less than 10% of sermons preached in evangelical churches even mentioned hell, sin, salvation, or heaven.
Yeah, so this is average, right? Like this is not even for people who aren't believers. Like this is including like statistics from churches. Like, so we need like a revival of our faith, like I got convicted, bro. Like as you were reading, like I try and pray, but some days, dude, like I hit like a few seconds or a minute, if I'm honest. It's like, man, I need to take this more seriously. I need to spend more time in my word, more time in prayer. And it's not like out of conviction of like, man, or condemnation, I'd say. It's out of like conviction. It's like, man, Brandon, you're a terrible person. No, it's not that. It's, I know what God has called me to do. And in order to fulfill it and to like, I'm called to change these statistics, like everybody on this call is called to like be a change maker. So we're not called to be average. We're literally called to create change. Somebody else want to unmute and just read this verse out?
Yeah, I can read it. Um, John 15:16. You did not choose me, but I chose you. I appointed you to go and produce fruit, and that your fruit should remain, so that whatever you ask the Father in my name, he will give you.
Love it. And just kind of confirmation right there. God chose us. He appointed us to go and to produce fruit. And each one of us is called, based off the Bible, like fruit, love, joy, peace, goodness, kindness, gentleness, self-control, all those things. Those are fruit. But he's also given us a specific assignment. And we're going to keep diving into that. So that's awesome. Somebody else want to read this one?
Yeah, for sure. So he has saved us with the holy calling, not according to our works, but according to his own purpose and grace, which was given to us in Christ Jesus before time began.
So it's a holy calling. And I mean, I know probably all of us have like seen verses like this, but I'm even looking at this right now and I'm just like, wow, he's given me a holy calling, not according to my own works, no matter how good I am at sales, how good I am at, running ads, like no matter, what I'm good at. And however, I feel like God will redeem our skills and use them for his glory. But again, it's not for Brandon's glory. It's for his purpose. And the biggest lie of the world nowadays is like, you know what? You should just kind of figure out life on your own and you should just chase your dreams. And, Jesus wants you to do that. You know what I mean? Like just find your way. Right. And it's like, no, that is the opposite of like what the word tells us to do. True fulfillment, true peace, true purpose is found in his will for us, like what he set us up to do. And I mean, I know, like, here's the thing. This whole faith thing is like, if you believe in God, just in general, it takes a lot of faith and potentially it's a pretty like wild thing to believe in. Like, dude, you're telling me like God created the world, sent his son in flesh to die on a cross for us, be buried for 3 days and rise again. Like, that sounds crazy. You're telling me the whole earth was flooded and God flooded it? That sounds crazy. Like he split open a sea. Peter walked on water. Like, dude, this faith is wild. So if we have enough faith to believe all of that, why could we not believe that his purpose is better than our own? So it's like, it takes less faith for me to believe that his purpose is better than mine, for me to believe that Peter walked on water. Right? So it's like, dude, I'm telling you, his purpose is better than our own. Got another verse here. Somebody else want to read this one?
For we
Yes,
are.
sir.
Oh, sorry. For we are
No,
his
no, you're
workmanship
good. You're
created.
good.
For we are his workmanship created in Jesus Christ for good works, which God prepared ahead of time for us to do.
Ahead of time, he prepared good works for us to do. So, I mean, that's like 3 back to back to back. Just like, at least at the end of this Bible study, we'll know, like, maybe not what our purpose is, but that God had something on his heart when he created us. So God has a plan for us. And what we need to start asking ourselves is like, what are we called to do with it? I believe it's to respond and to steward. And I'll be honest, I'm pretty good at responding to God. Like usually I'll say whenever he like gets my attention or, ask me to do something, I'll respond. And I know that I have something on my life that I'm called to impact people in a big way. But I'm always lacked in the stewardship area. And stewardship is such a big thing and it goes deep. It goes like towards money, towards your relationship with your wife, your girlfriend, your kids, your relationship with yourself, your relationship with God. Like how you do one thing is how you do everything. Like a lot of people are like, dude, my money's good. My relationship, my self-image with myself is good, but I treat my wife like crap. It's like, dude, you're not a good steward. Like, who are you at the core? Because how you steward one thing, typically how you steward your relationship with God, will move outward in how you steward everything. So yeah, to respond and to steward. And, I just have like a quick parable. Just want to read here, just to kind of draw, a correlation to like all the things we're talking about. It said, one day Jesus told his disciples a story to show that they should always pray and never give up. And there was a judge in the city, and he said, that neither feared God nor cared about people, right? A widow of that city came to him repeatedly saying, give me justice in this dispute with my enemy. The judge ignored her for a while, but finally he said to himself, I don't fear God or care about people, but this woman is driving me crazy. I'm going to see that she gets justice because she is wearing me out with her constant request. Then the Lord said, learn a lesson from this unjust judge. Even he rendered a just decision in the end. So don't you think God will surely give justice to his chosen people who cry out to him day and night? Will he keep putting them off? I tell you, he will grant justice to them quickly. But when the Son of Man returns, how many will he find on the earth who have faith? And, basically, I think as a group, like I know there's only 5 of us on today, but I think that was the Lord's will, just to kind of start small and get like a couple people in. They're like, yo, dude, like I want to do this and be a part of this Bible study and commit to what you're talking about. But who has faith? Like in our generation right now, like there's not a lot of people who have faith, and God is looking for people to knock on the door. Like if you notice, like all he asked was for us to knock. And I'm correlating knocking to like, hey God, Brandon just said I have a dream. Hey God, Brandon just showed me verses where it's talking about like you have a plan for my life. What is that plan? What is that? Like, God, show me what that is. I want to make an impact. I don't just want to have a business to make money. I don't just want to have a business to stack cash for my kids so I'm a good dad and I'm able to build wealth and I invest in my retirement and I take care of my parents when they are, needing help. No, like God, what is the dream that you've given me? And yeah, next parable, really quick, Pharisee, tax collector. And yeah, just going to run through this. So Jesus was in this town and he told this story to some people who had great confidence in their own righteousness and scorned everyone else. 2 men went to the temple to pray, right? So he's talking to people who are like, yo, God, I've got all my stuff together. I've got everything I need. I'm a good Christian. I tithe. I give above my tithe. I do good work. I set appointments really well. I do sales calls really well. I'm a great marketer. I love my wife, my family. And Jesus is talking to people who think they have it all together. And he says, 2 men went to the temple to pray. One was a Pharisee and the other was a despised tax collector. A tax collector in those days was like someone like basically is like someone everyone didn't like and someone who would like rip people off for their own gain. So he was a despised tax collector. The Pharisee stood by himself and prayed this prayer. I thank you, God, that I'm not like other people, cheaters, sinners, adulterers. I'm certainly not like that tax collector, right? I fast twice a week and I give you 1/10 of my income. But the tax collector stood at a distance and dared to not even lift his eyes to heaven as he prayed. Instead, he beat his chest in sorrow, saying, Oh God, be merciful to me, for I am a sinner. I tell you, this sinner, not the Pharisee, returned home justified before God. For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. So like in Christianity, like this verse alone, verse 13 and 14, would change every single thing that like people believe about Christianity. The problem isn't Christianity. The problem is like Christians. Like we've gotten lukewarm. We aren't good examples of what it means to be, like Jesus. Christian, it means Christ-like, little Christ. And, people, I'm not saying us on the call, but a lot of Christians nowadays, even myself, like we turn into Pharisees really quick. Like, yo, God, I'm good. Like, thank goodness I'm not like that sinner, that adulterer, that cheater. But in reality, what God is looking for, just like the widow who was constantly knocking and asking him, to answer and justify her prayer. But what God is looking for is for people who say, you know what, God, not in my own strength. I didn't build this business. I didn't do this in my own strength. God, like without you, I'm just a sinner. I am nothing. And that posture of our heart literally attracts God into our life because he is literally a good father. Like he wants the best for us. And yeah, I know there's like a lot of verses here that I put in. I'm going to skip past that just so we can kind of open it up at the end here. But whole point of this whole conversation, this whole Bible study, is that we are called not to build our own kingdom, but we are called to build his kingdom. And I just wrote, just a couple kind of I am statements here, if you will. Like, you're not just a coach, you're a kingdom coach. You're not just a business owner, you're a kingdom business owner. You're not just a teacher, someone who's working a 9 to 5, someone who's a doctor. You're not just a blank. You are a kingdom-minded individual who God has chosen to make an impact in this world. And yeah, I mean, kind of as we open it up, just have like 3 questions for us. Like, would love to hear, everybody's God dream, and kind of just open the discussion of like, is what we've been building for ourselves or for him? And just like, what are the building blocks? Because I'm believing God at the end of this call for all of us to surrender something to the Lord.